So I'm going to get to your complimentary plays here in just a moment. I'm going to take a look at the late game between the Dodgers and the Padres and one of your earlier nighttime contests between the Yankees and the Rays. Just a little observation and a little quick story for you. So I first really got betting on a regular basis in baseball back in the early 80s. I was still in school. I mean, listen, I was probably like a lot of you playing, parlay cards when I was in junior high school. I really started getting involved betting baseball again when I was in school because it was always my favorite sport. And then there was this thing called the USFL that came along. And I loved it because obviously when school was out, is when I was able to most concentrate on betting baseball, which I love the most because without school interrupting things, I was able to focus on baseball. And this spring and summer football league really captured my attention. I was in the Philadelphia area. We had the Philadelphia Stars, but the team that really made me money was the Houston Gamblers with Jim Kelly, the run and shoot. Oh my God, did they make me a fortune? So I was taking my baseball profits and reinvesting them in the USFL. And it was a very difficult thing to do because the local bookmakers, very few of them had lines. But the ones that I found that were able to offer me lines, I was able to beat them. Now, granted, I'm a kid. I'm betting $15, $25. That was a lot of money for me as a kid. I mean, that's a lot of money back in those days when you're in school still, okay? But I was able to beat them consistently because nobody was paying attention to that league, I think, other than probably me and a few other diehard football fans who appreciated watching football when the NFL was on its siesta. And remember, back in those days, the NFL wasn't this conglomerate it was today. There was no fantasy. There was no televising the draft nonstop. There was no... Was ESPN? I think ESPN didn't start till 1982 or 83. So it wasn't really the conglomerate it was today. And the USFL was entertaining. Yeah, there was a lot of failures in some of the different markets, but it was entertaining. But then there was this guy by the name of Donald Trump. He owned this team called the New Jersey Generals. And this guy, Donald Trump, came along and he basically pushed all the owners to go ahead and decide to stop being a spring-summer football league and go to the fall because he wanted to basically take on the NFL. And he had a great quote. Once said, if God wanted football in the spring, he wouldn't have created baseball. Well, we know how that story turned out. And I bring this up because right before I started the video report today, I see our president decided to go on another attack on the NFL. I don't know about you, but personally, and this is not a political statement, this is just an observation because this is not a political report. To me, just my own personal opinion, there are so many things in this country that maybe I would hope that our president and our leaders would be concentrating on, taxes, healthcare, the economy overall, the whack job in some foreign country who says he's going to nuke us every other 4.5 minutes, that I don't really need, our president worrying about billionaires paying a lot of guys who are millionaires to play in multi-million-dollar stadiums. I don't really care. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost like a obsessive-compulsive disorder, this thing about the NFL. But when you think about it, it goes back, way back, to the days of when he had the USFL team, doesn't it? I mean, it's kind of like this thing that just won't drop. It's kind of a weird obsession. I don't know. Again, just an observation. But I don't know. In this day and age, I think there's a hell of a lot more with natural disasters taking its toll in so many different places. I'm sure the people in South Florida and in Houston sure don't want to hear any more crap about the NFL. I'm sure that there's a lot of other people in this country that are tired of hearing about the NFL too. Again, billionaires playing millionaires. We know the league is going to make it. The ratings may not be quite what they once were, but as long as there's gambling, the league will survive, right? Because if there wasn't gambling, they wouldn't be playing in multi-million-dollar stadiums. They'd be playing on bleachers in cow pastures in the middle of Iowa because there wouldn't be nearly as much interest. Because let's face it, TV and gambling fuel the NFL's popularity. Now it's also fantasy that's fueling it as well because they're getting kids addicted to it too, right? And really, does anybody care about watching the games? Why are ratings down? Because more people are sitting there on their phones, on their tablets going, oh, gee, did I get 14 points because so-and-so scored on my latest fantasy thing? Yeah, nobody's really watching it. Or they're watching the red zone, right? They're watching the red zone for highlights rather than watching the damn games in their entirety. Don't you? Right? Okay, let's get to your complimentary plays. What can I tell you? That's my observation, my snarky comment for the day. I'm going to go with the Dodgers, basically pretty much even money on the run line tonight at home. Yeah, the Dodgers, you could say it's not a meaningful game, but I beg to differ because remember, the Dodgers, have a 2.5 game lead over Cleveland for the best record overall in baseball, and they want to maintain that lead because their late season swoon has put them in a precarious position going into the final weekend of the season. Best record in baseball. You have the home field advantage throughout the postseason and right through the World Series since they eliminated that stupid All-Star game provision with the winner. It means something, that Bud Selig ridiculous bull. Oops, can't say that word, can we? But I'm going to go with Rich Hill. He's won his last 2 starts. In fact, his last 4 starts, he's really pitched extremely well. 2.45 earned run average with 30 strikeouts over a 22-inning stretch in which he's allowed just 12 hits and walked 6 batters. He has a 3.04 earned run average in 13 home starts this season. And in those 13 home starts, I took a look at his numbers. He's pitched 71 innings. He's only allowed 47 hits, and opponents are batting just 188 against him. Now, true, he is basically a 5 or 6 inning pitcher. But with the Dodgers bullpen, that's not such a bad thing, He's 2-0 in 3 starts against the Padres this season with a 1.50 earned run average. And in those starts, he's struck out 25 and allowed just 11 hits and 18 innings of work. Clayton Richards is going for San Diego tonight. Clayton Richard, a 5.03 earned run average and 1-7 record in 15 road starts this season. And I mean, his numbers, I get choked up thinking about his numbers. His numbers are simply staggering in those 15 road starts. 107 hits and 27 walks in 87.2 innings. That's 134 base runners in 87 innings. I mean, the guy must have a stiff neck because every time, he's pitching to somebody, he must be looking over his shoulder because somebody's at first, somebody's at second. I mean, that's just amazing. In his road starts, opponents are batting .313 against him. And he's made 5 starts against the Dodgers this year. Forget about the 1-3 record. His earned run average is 5.52, and the Dodgers are hitting .336 against him. The Dodgers are probably looking at Dave Roberts today, waiting for him to post a lineup, going, Jesus, I hope I'm in the lineup tonight. I hope I'm in the lineup. I got a chance to juice up my batting average with just a couple days left to go in the season. Anyway, again, Dodgers have won the first 2 games in this series, 9-3 and 9-2. They've won 5 of their last 6. This is the final home game of the season. They're 56-24 at home, so why not lay the 1.5 and go with them tonight? The other play, which I don't like as much, but I'm going to go with them anyway, the Yankees on the run line. They're a little bigger of a favorite, minus $1.35. Luis Severino going tonight, roughed up in his last start, but still 8-2 with a 2.34 earned run average in 13 starts since the All-Star game. Not too shabby. Yankees have won 10 of their last 11 at home, averaging 7.5 runs in that stretch, hitting .320 with 25 home runs in that 11-game stretch. And they have the best home record in baseball, 20 games over 500. Tampa, meanwhile, has lost 11 of their last 17 games, 19 and 28 their last 47 games overall, and 1-7 at Yankee Stadium this season. So I'm going to go against Tampa Bay and lay the 1.5. Run and a half. 1.5. Boy, that's a tough combination with the Yankees tonight for your other complimentary play. And that'll do it, guys. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we've got, a couple of college football game, Texas and Iowa, and NFL game too. Talk to you then.